Firstly, thank you for what first. I also have a double question. So, we know Buina and Sam had chemistry, and when you found out Sam was going to kill Buina, were you hoping it'd be the same way you killed Madison and Jess and everyone else?
Wow. Will you grab the knife out of my bag?
I mean, what a way to go, though.
That was a really, so I think anybody in here who has had the pleasure of meeting Ruthie loves her. I certainly love and adore her, and both as a human being and as a fellow actor. And so when I read that script, that was a tough one also. And we were in that time of the series where we were kind of like killing people off and saying goodbye to them, and it all sucked. It felt appropriately intimate, if that makes any sense. So I think that was the right way to do it, because it felt like a connection. Yeah, I think I wouldn't have written it any other way.
Yeah, it was a beautiful scene.
Thank you so much. I'll pass it on to Ruthie. Thank you.
Hi, Jared. Just a random question. As a tallish guy.
Tallish?
Yeah, tall, like.
Oh, tallish. Me. Accents. I know. No, I got it.
Quite tall.
Yes.
Out of Snow
Yeah, what
White.
do you mean ish? Come on. Give me some credit.
Okay, so out of Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, which one of the dwarfs would you be? And which Sam would be?
I'd be dopey, Sam would be grumpy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That's an awesome question. Hi there.
Hi, Jared. I have an early season Sam question, if that's okay.
Fine.
In season 3's Bad Day at Black Rock.
Yeah.
You know, where you fell
The
down.
rabbit's foot.
Yeah, the rabbit's foot thing. Yeah, that's one of my daughter's favourite episodes. She watches it with me now. She's 17 now.
She likes seeing me in pain, yeah?
Yeah, she was 7 at the time, and she said, let's watch the one where Sam falls down. And she wanted to know, did you really hurt your knees when you fell? Because it was so real looking, and she's always wondered that.
Oh, really?
I thought I'd ask that, so thanks.
That's awesome. Well, that actually makes me feel really good. Because, well, the short answer is no, I don't know my knees. The long answer is if we come out of, was it Bigger Sense at the time?
Yes.
Yeah. So when we came out of Bigger Sense.
You were chasing Bella.
Yeah, and we're running. So there was a stunt pad, which are pads probably about like 12 to 18 inches. Like, people jump out of buildings or something and fall on them. And so it was out of camera, and the camera was here so I could fall. But it was basically, if you watch the shot, you can tell where it is, because it's this wide.
Yeah.
And probably from me to the front row. And so they laid it there. And so if the camera's here, we're running out, we're doing this, and then I pretend to fall. I fell onto like a double mattress, like a giant.
But it was so funny, you just disappeared from the screen.
Yeah.
It was just so well done, and she's always loved that, so have I. So.
Yeah, I'm an over-actor.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks.
Made a career out of it.
Thanks so much.
And thanks to your daughter.
I have a supernatural question as well. So we never get to find out why Poughkeepsie is such an important word to Sam and Dean. Did you guys know that? Did you make anything up in your heads? Did you kind of make a backstory for that?
That was, great question. That was courtesy of Bob Singer. I think Poughkeepsie is somewhere in New York.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew that. So it originally came from Bob Singer, and then the second time where I say Poughkeepsie to Dean, it's not in the script, but I thought it would be a cool thing to add. I think the nerd in Jared was like, this is the perfect time to like close the loop. And a lot of the stuff I do now on Walker and Wendy as a producer, but also even during Supernatural, some of the things I like doing, like I think Jensen and I have talked about some of the throwbacks to in the barn scene that we all know about, but the bits where, I can't do this alone, yes you can, well I don't want to, that's not scripted, that was just something I wanted. I was like, this is a great way to close the circle. Hey Sam, Dean, which is the first words we ever see them say to each other, was just something I wanted to kind of close that loop. Just storytelling, like I don't love acting, I love storytelling, I love stories. And so I think as somebody who enjoys stories, that just seemed like pieces of the puzzle, that it's like that final feeling. Have you all made puzzles before? I'm sure we all have. When it's mostly built, and then you're putting in the final pieces, and you're like, oh, that's where it goes, and you turn it around. I love that feeling. I was always a kid, and my middle child, my younger son, Chet, he's very similar with like Legos or with puzzles. And I was the same way as a kid. He'll spend days or weeks building this puzzle or Legos or whatever, and then once it's done, he wants us to see it, and then he wants to break it down. And you're like, dude, you spent so much time. Like, you've been here every day after school, on the weekends. But that was me. It was kind of like, okay, I want to figure this puzzle piece out, and cool. All right, let me make something else. And so Poughkeepsie, the second time it came around, was just something that kind of occurred to me when I was reading it. But the first time was courtesy of Bob Singer, our New York, born and bred executive producer, director.
That's really great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
My question is, so Jensen is in The Boys now. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yes,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is coming too. So if you were to be in that show, would you be part of The Boys or The Seven? And would you kick Soldier Boy's ass, or would you help him? And Soldier Boy, not Jensen.
No, I actually, I don't know if I would want to fight Soldier Boy. He was mean. But I don't want to get thrown onto a table with the butcher. Kripke and I have talked a little bit about how I could do it. Right now it's not practical logistically, I'd love to be on it. I'd have to call my mom and say, don't watch.
Jensen did that.
He did, yeah. He gave me all the notes, like, hey, if you ever do it, just call your friends, call your wife, call your mom, say, don't watch. But I'd love to do it. I think it would be fun to link up with Soldier Boy and kind of solve something together. So I think I'd have to be one of the suits. Hi.
In your opinion, who wears the Gucci jacket best?
Well, seeing as I'm the only one here, I'd say it's me. I think I'm 40 years old. I don't believe I've ever owned a Gucci jacket. And I don't know what took me so long.
Hi, Jared.
Hey.
I'm going to take you to the beginning of this season of Walker,
Okay.
where you're in the cage and you're being
Yep.
tortured.
The good old Jared Padalecki in a cage.
Yeah. And it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And I'm curious, how hard was it for you not to draw from Sam? Because when I watched that, it was very hard for me. And I did not see Sam. So I'm just curious, was it tough for you?
Amazing, thank you. I mean, the thought absolutely crossed my mind. In a weird way, and I'm sorry to keep using bad language, but I feel like I feel like Cordell Walker almost has a bit more of a fuck you attitude than Sam. Like, Walker has a bit of Dean in him, of like, bring it. Whereas Sam was very much almost academic with like, here's where I am, here's what I have to
He's
do.
defiant, I think.
Cordell, I think.
Sam is defiant.
Yeah, Sam's defiant, but Sam is thinking all along, like, what's the intelligent way out of here? Cordell has a bit more of like, well, I guess this is it. But obviously when they bring Liam into the cage, very similar to Dean and Sam in the cage. On a personal note, that cage was real. Like, that was real metal. Often when you see cages, it's a lot of like styrofoam, like firm styrofoam that's been painted and speckled. I'll go with speckled. To look like it's old corrugated iron or something. This was just iron and concrete, and it sucked. And since I was wearing shorts and like a skinny black t-shirt, I couldn't wear pads, and so it sucked. And that's when I also tore my Achilles, or not my Achilles, my ACL. But it's what it is.
You did an amazing job, and thank you for everything you do.
Thank you, back.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
I wanted to let you know that I was the handler for Chuck Norris a couple of years ago. And I told him how well Walker was doing, and he just wanted to pass along that he was so proud.
I was invited to go be a part of a con in the States that he was doing, and I'm out of town for a wedding or something, but I can't, I've actually still never met him. You know, we've talked through this person and that person, but it's fun to follow in footsteps, but also pave your own way, if that makes any sense. So it means a lot. Cool. I hope he was nice. I'm sure he was.
He was adorable.
I bet. Awesome. I still wouldn't mess with him. Thank you.
Since we all agree the supernatural movie will happen eventually.
Oh, we do agree then?
We do.
News to me.
What kind of plot lines would you like to see happen?
What's it? Sam fries Dean? Or Sam drives the Impala? There's a lot in my head, and there's a lot. I want to get, I'm sure I'm on record. Oh, on record, that sounds self-important. I think I've expressed how much I would love to do that sometime. I will say this, I don't want to say but, I just did 3 buts in a row. But I feel so protective. And I feel so protective of what Jensen and I did with that supernatural storyline of those characters, that I feel like he and I would need to have the heaviest hands in the storylines, and so we never did. We were never producers, much less executive producers on Supernatural. We behaved very much like producers, or even executive producers. I was going to say the B word. However, on the other hand, I really feel like I have some strong thoughts on the best way to do it, and he and I have talked and shared ideas. I mean, I don't feel like the supernatural I wouldn't want it to be a movie. I would want it to be like a 6 to 8 episode, maybe hour and a half reboot. I don't think it would be complete without Castiel. I don't think it would be complete without Jack. You know, so many of the beloved characters we've had, especially towards the end there, where the storyline makes the most sense to kind of not jump back in, but jump back in. I hope we get to explore that.
Me too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Being the original first.
OG. Yeah.
First, thank you for giving Walker such a depth and humanity, because it's really great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask, since you have kids usually watch a lot of movies and cartoons all over.
I'm so sorry.
They watch cartoons and movies.
Yes,
right?
yours or mine?
Have you been stuck in there watching with them again? Because I was wondering if, as for myself, I got some lessons from, I don't know, The Lion King, Balto, and I was wondering if you can think of something that was a strong message for yourself.
From The Lion King?
From whatever movie you think is important for you.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that I heard Lion King, and I wrote my senior graduation English paper on The Lion King, working in Joseph Campbell's, heroes, myths, and legends, and all the archetypes, and then got to kind of portray a lot of those with Supernatural, and I never thought about this. So my senior, advanced English placement paper was comparing The Lion King and The Natural with Robert Redford, and talking about the different use of archetypes and two different kind of genres, because one was with animation and one was live action, and they were a couple decades apart, or a decade plus. And so I think I really love the classic archetypes and stories, the classic tropes, and different takes on them. And so I find myself drawn to stories that have kind of an inherent juxtaposition. That's maybe a weird word in Italian. I feel like, the friendly beast, the Chewbacca that's scary, or, the Timon and Pumbaa that are strange and Pumbaa farts. Jirodumba, right now is my favorite.
I'm guilty of that too, so a friend of mine called me Jared, the tiny Jared.
The tiny Jared?
Yeah, let's not go there.
Yeah, I think I learned from some of those movies and some of the kids' movies. I think kids' movies are very simplistic at their core because they deal with things, and I imagine that people who create and produce kids' movies, kids' TV shows, they understand that certain storylines work. The bully who ends up being a nice guy, the nerd who ends up being the hero, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think humans are all drawn to those tropes. So yeah, I've learned a lot, but now I'm gonna go back and watch and make some notes. Thank you very much. You bet.
So I've asked this question last August to Chancellor.
I wasn't here in August.
Yes, I know, and I asked him to answer on your behalf.
Oh, great.
And he did. But he also said you might have a very long, insightful answer to that question, so here it goes. What aspect of 17's personality was hardest to act? Well, for you it's Sam's personality, obviously.
Yeah, I got it. Man, he really built me up. I'm gonna fail. What was the hardest aspect of Sam for me to portray? Gosh, a lot of Sam came pretty credit to our writers. They kind of get to know who you are and get to know how you lean when you're doing a scene. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in the final probably 10 seasons of Supernatural, it's like Sam and Dean show up to a person's house. Hey, we want to ask you about your deceased, this person or that person. It's like Sam does his empathetic puppy dog eyes. And I was like, oh, okay, wait. No, but I think that's kind of who Jared is. I think it was Sam's version of comedy. Because Sam, I don't think was a really funny guy. He had some really funny moments. I think Cordell Walker's version of comedy is very similar to Jared Padalecki's. And I just spoke in the third person. But, you know, I think Sam's version of comedy was difficult for me to kind of find, and maybe that was correct, because Sam, I don't think, thought of himself as a funny person. It was kind of more funny in the moment. And so I think that's probably it. Like I think I've said before, The French Mistake was the most nerve-wracking episode of Supernatural that I've ever done. No, the finale was obviously the most difficult episode, but the most nerve-wracking. I was like, okay, this is a funny episode. I was like, what? What do you mean? Like, Sam has to be funny? So that's my answer. I hope it lived up to Jensen's expectations. I just spit.
Jensen said it would be having a taller older brother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, his older brother Josh. Oh, yeah. And I guess for me, it'd be having a shorter older brother, because my brother's taller than I am. So, thank you so much. I'll do one more. I'm getting the guillotine, but of course.
Hi. First off, I want to say that I love Walker and Wendy. And my question is, what's your favorite thing about Sam's personality and Walker's personality?
Great question, thank you. My favorite part about Sam's personality was this is an American and or English saying, but his long game mentality. You know, he kind of helped teach me patience. I'm not going to claim I'm the most patient person on the planet. I think I'm all right. But he always wanted to do things right, to do things the correct way, and he was willing to put in the work before attempting so that he wouldn't mess up. My favorite part of Cordell's personality, Walker's personality, I like Cordell's sense of humor. It's very similar to Jared's. He's kind of a goofball. He doesn't take himself. Not that Sam took himself seriously, and that's not how I would word it. He was dealing with much more serious situations, but I love how Cordell doesn't seem to take himself seriously. So that's been fun. It's been a lesson in itself. Thank you. And thank you all.